The world is teetering on the edge of a financial collapse. The system, as we know it, is built on debt, speculation, and leverage, a ticking time bomb. It feels familiar, doesn't it? We've seen it before, 1929, 2008. But this time, the collapse could make you rich. If you're prepared, if you understand the mechanics of wealth destruction, this is not about avoiding the crash. It's about positioning yourself to profit from it. What happens when trust breaks and leverage pulls the rug out from under the system? The answer is simpler than you think. The financial system is a pressure cooker. No one sees the quiet build-up, but it's happening. We feel the heat rising, yet the noise is muted. There are warning signs, but they've become background noise in a world that's learned to ignore them. Why? Because growth is too comfortable. But growth built on debt is an illusion. Trust in the system is at its peak. Trust in leverage, in institutions, in promises. But those promises are built on shaky ground. In 2026, we'll see the cracks. Not in one day, but over time. We are the frogs in the boiling pot. Look closely. Debt is at an all-time high. Governments, corporations, and individuals all heavily invested in a system that promises stability but thrives on instability. It's simple: leverage, cheap money, and rising asset prices. These things inflate the economy, but only for so long. The crash is inevitable. Debt has become normalized. It's woven into the fabric of modern life. You can't escape it. Look at the staggering figures: personal debt, national debt, corporate debt. We live in a world where borrowing has become synonymous with growth. Banks lend money, governments issue bonds, and people borrow to buy homes and invest in stocks. They've convinced us that it's all part of the cycle. But is it? The truth is, the system is held together by paper-thin margins. When asset prices crash, so will the trust. Take a step back. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are sinking deeper into debt. The middle class, it's a shrinking group, suffocated by inflation and rising costs. And here's the most telling sign: inequality. It's not just a social problem, it's a financial time bomb. The disparity between those who control wealth and those who hold the debt is growing, and it's growing fast. We've seen this before. In the 1920s, it was the stock market. In 2008, it was the housing market. And now in 2026, it will be the debt market. The problem isn't just that we're borrowing too much. It's that we're borrowing from each other. Institutions are lending to other institutions, which in turn lend to you. The problem? There's no real value behind this borrowing. It's all paper, pushed around by too many hands. And here's where the real problem lies: leverage. We're all in it, but some of us are more in it than others. Big banks, large corporations, hedge funds. They've borrowed more than anyone else, and when the time comes, they'll be the first to fail. The worst part: they'll take the rest of us down with them. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Debt creates illusions of growth. But growth without value is a lie. It's a house built on sand. The richer get richer, the middle class gets squeezed, and the poor are left to bear the brunt of the collapse. But there's another side to this. If you understand how the system is built, you can position yourself to profit. This collapse, when it happens, will create winners, but only for those who know what to do. What's the trigger? How do we know when the system is about to fail? And what's the path forward for those who are ready? The system is a house of cards. It's been built, not on foundations of strength, but on fragile promises. These promises of debt, leverage, and growth have propped it up for decades. But when those promises fail, the collapse is inevitable. Let's understand how we got here, and more importantly, how we can avoid being swept away when it happens. Debt is the lifeblood of modern economies. It fuels growth, drives investment, and shapes the financial landscape. But what happens when the very thing that fuels the economy becomes the catalyst for its destruction. It's simple: leverage. Leverage is the magnifier of risk. It takes the small and turns it into the catastrophic. Take a look at the institutions that have grown large. They've borrowed against future profits, using debt as their primary tool for growth. But that growth isn't real. It's built on borrowed time. The bigger they grow, the harder they fall. They've taken on more debt, and now they must face the consequences. Leverage isn't just for the big players. It's everywhere. You've used it. A mortgage, a student loan, maybe even credit cards. The system has made us all comfortable with borrowing, promising that it's just a tool for success. But leverage is dangerous. When you borrow, you don't just amplify your potential for growth, you amplify your potential for failure. One wrong move, and it all comes crashing down. So, why does this matter? It matters because debt and leverage are not just numbers. They're the hidden gears that drive the system. When the system fails, it won't be a sudden drop. It'll be a slow, inevitable collapse as leverage reaches unsustainable levels. And when it reaches that breaking point, the illusion of stability shatters. The rich won't just lose their wealth. They'll lose their position at the top. Everyone will feel the tremors. The crash won't happen overnight. It'll start with one failed investment, one big firm unable to cover its debts. Then it'll ripple out, spreading through the financial system. One by one, institutions will begin to fail. Governments will step in, trying to bail out the failing system. But here's the key. Bailing out the system is like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. It won't work for long. The cracks are already showing. The leverage is out of control. What was once a safety net is now a noose, and we've all been caught in it. The system has promised wealth, but it's built on illusion. The more we borrow, the closer we get to the collapse. We're like passengers on a train speeding toward a cliff. We don't see it yet, but it's coming. And that's the thing. The collapse isn't an isolated event. It's not just one firm or one country failing. It's the whole system. A web of debt, leverage, and speculation, all waiting for the right moment to snap. The pressure is mounting, and when it breaks, it won't just be one sector that falls. It'll be everything. In the world of finance, bubbles don't appear overnight. They're built slowly, layer by layer, until the weight of speculation becomes too much to bear. We've been watching this bubble inflate for years now. The assets rise, the confidence builds, and the markets soar. But it's all a game of illusion, and like every bubble before it, it will burst. Inequality and speculation are the quiet forces that will bring it down. The wealth gap is the loudest silence in today's economy. On the surface, we've been told that the system is working, that everyone has a fair shot. But the truth is far darker. The top 1% have accumulated more wealth than ever before. The middle class, it's shrinking. The poor, they're sinking deeper into debt, pushed further away from the dream of prosperity. This is not just a social issue, it's a financial one. Inequality isn't just unfair, it's a financial time bomb. Speculation has been the fuel for this fire. Speculation isn't investment. It's the act of gambling with borrowed money, betting on future gains without a real understanding of value. When people start investing in things they don't understand, and when they believe the markets will always go up, you're staring at the birth of a bubble. The stock market, real estate, cryptocurrencies, these are the new playpens for the speculators. And that's the danger. Speculation has become the game of the wealthy. They've used their leverage to pump up asset prices, inflating the value of everything from houses to tech stocks to digital currencies. But there's no substance behind the price. It's all smoke and mirrors. When the price is no longer sustainable, when the market realizes that the value doesn't match the hype, it will come crashing down. The problem isn't just that people are speculating, it's that they've been taught to do it. When you're told that you can get rich by borrowing, betting, and inflating, you buy in. When you see the prices of assets rise without consequence, you believe the hype. It becomes a cycle. Everyone jumps in, the prices rise, and then, when the bubble finally bursts, everyone is left holding the bag. We're not just talking about a few bad bets. We're talking about a system where speculation is the norm. The central banks, the hedge funds, the tech giants, they've all bought in. But for everyone else, the stakes are higher. You don't have the cushion to absorb the loss when it comes. And that's what makes this crash different. The little guy doesn't have the luxury of waiting out the storm. When the bubble bursts, it will wipe out wealth across the board, from the hedge fund manager to the average worker. Speculation is the heartbeat of this bubble. And when it stops, the crash will be inevitable. But here's the question. Will it take down the entire system? The answer is simple. Yes. This time, when the bubble bursts, it won't just be a market correction. It'll be the collapse of a system built on sand.